Welcome to the Designated Driver Show,
the podcast where three regular guys chase better golf and even better stories.
Grab a drink, hop in the cart, and ride along with the Designated Driver Show.
Yo, guys, welcome back to the Designated Driver Show. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good, boys.
Bro. Doing good.
Episode 3. Let's
yes,
do
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. Coming off of a fun weekend. I know, Josh, you and I went to the Pistons game. Nate, you get to do anything cool this weekend?
Well, we went to breakfast ball yesterday, got in some content recording, and then just enjoyed the Sunday today, watching football and kind of doing all my stuff. I use Sundays as like get my meal preps together, get myself ready for the week, do all my programming, things like that. So got that all done today. And then, dude, tragic. Lions took the L, and
tough.
Playoff chances are looking slim.
They got cheated. That's all I'm going to say. They got cheated.
Spoken like a true Michigan fan.
Yep. Tragic.
But
always in the news.
I will say, I'm in playoffs in both my fantasies, going up against one of the friends of the show. I don't know if he wants to be mentioned right now, but yeah, we're probably about to take the W in both of them, so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
There you go. Is it first round of playoffs? I don't even play fantasy football like that.
For most people, it depends on what league you're in, but yeah, right now it's kind of like the first week of playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost in both of mine,
Same dude for both leagues, you said, and first round of playoffs for both leagues?
Yeah, in both. We played. Yep. And then right now, I think I need 30 points from Jalen Warren, Achan, and Pickens to take the dub in one, and I already secured the dub in the other. So looking good.
All right. Well, this episode, our third episode, you guys heard us say it already. It's going to be coming out right after the new year. Hope you guys had a great Christmas, holiday season with the family, had a great new year. You guys are safe. Looking forward to getting into some of our New Year's resolution type stuff we've been talking about the past 2 episodes of how we're going to make our games better. And I thought it'd be cool. We already talked about like our skills, handicap levels, all that type of stuff. But I thought it'd be cool to maybe do a little bit of a what's in the bag of what we're going to start the year with, and maybe what we like about our bag, what we don't, what we see maybe changing in the year, and just kind of run it through and give everyone an idea of what we're playing. So,
sounds good.
Nate, you want to hit it off for us?
Yeah, so for me, it's a little weird because we talked about it before, but I'm getting ready to do my first fitting. Everything, well, at least the irons are going to change in my bag. But we'll go over what I got right now, kind of what I do and don't like. So for my driver, I have a TSI-2, Titleist TSI-2. Not really sure the exact specs of it, if I'm being honest. Most of the stuff that I've gotten has been secondhand, like Marketplace or through like eBay, things like that. So I'm not exactly sure. I know it's like a tour AD shaft, stiff flex. It's good. It's serviceable. I think it's now 3 or 4 generations old. So I would like to kind of switch it out. The shaft is kind of what makes that club. And so the cool part is the value that I'm going to get out of the shaft. I can hopefully just, when I go to kind of upgrade, it'll be still valuable enough to kind of offset some of the costs. But for my woods, I run a 3 wood and a 3 hybrid. Those are both Ping G430s. I picked those up last year. I have a love-hate relationship with them. G430 has a different sound to it than what I'm kind of used to, and I don't hate it, but it takes a little bit of getting used to. And so with having those as my having them for my first season last year, I think I'm finally starting to kind of get used to the feel, and kind of they're starting to grow on me. The 3 hybrid is kind of like my safety valve. If I just need to put one in play, the shaft on it is kind of like a lower flighted shaft, so it keeps my ball flight a little bit lower. So that one's kind of just like my little fairway finder when I need to put one in play.
I would say those ping clubs sound like a old school like aluminum softball bat or something when you hit them, like just like a like it's just such a weird sound hitting them. They feel good, but they're just so weird to play with.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to for sure. The 425 sounds a lot weirder, I think, than the 430.
For sure.
But they both sound like aluminum bats. That's 100% accurate. For my irons, I'm playing Titleist AP1s. I don't know exactly what generation they are. They're a few years old now. That's kind of why I'm doing the iron fitting this year, is I've had them for a while. That was my first like purchase when I was getting into golf, was okay, I'm gonna buy a good decent set of irons that will get me by for 3 to 5 years, and then I'll upgrade. That's kind of where we're at with those. I got a pitching wedge through 4 iron in those, and then I'm running Vokey wedges. My wedges are kind of weird though. So I run a 48, a 54, and a 60 because for the AP1, for some reason, the pitching wedge of the AP1, the loft's like a 42 degree. So it's a lot lower than most average lofts of like pitching wedges in most clubs. So I have like a lower lofted starting wedge. And then I have 6 degrees of difference in between each one, which I think kind of, for my over analytical self, OCD self, that kind of makes me think, okay, these are going to go the exact same distance in between. So, and then to round it out, I got a TaylorMade Spider as my putter. Picked that up a couple years ago too, kind of Facebook Marketplace. That one has a cool story. I was up in Traverse City just randomly browsing and found a good deal on one. So swung over in between. We were going to a wedding. So after the wedding was over with on our way back, I swung by and picked that up on the way home. So that was
Nice.
pretty cool.
Yeah, the Spiders were hot on tour this year. I mean, everyone loves the mallets, it seemed now, and Lab and different brands that have the different types of mallets. But you see pretty much any Sunday in those final pairings, probably multiple Spiders are out there on the course, and everyone seems to love them.
Yeah, 100. I have one of the older, I think the model's like the Hydro Blast. Not that it really matters. For any of you golf nerds that pay attention to that stuff, you'll know what it looks like. Yeah, man, I like it. The one thing I like about my putter was this was the first putter I had where it has more of like a pencil grip or like a pistol grip, I think is what they call it. It doesn't have the oversized super stroke on there. And honestly, for my hand size, I think I really like it. It just fits a little more naturally in my hands. And I've actually now, I think Scotty switched to one, and a couple other pros have now switched to like the pencil grips instead of the thicker super strokes. So I like it. I think I'm gonna stick with that on my putters from now on.
Yeah, I feel like when you do that, like making the smaller, more narrow grip, it makes you feel stuff a lot more and
Hmm.
feel like you can control it maybe a little bit more. Where when you go with the larger grips, like the jumbo grips on your clubs, or something oversized, mid-size, whatever you're going with, tends to feel like maybe you get a little bit more forgiveness, I guess, with them. But maybe you just got really big hands too. But I do like the smaller grip on my putter too. It just feel like I can control it a little bit better.
Yep. Yep. It's exactly what you said. I just feel like I have a better connection with the club versus having like those thicker grips. And it's the same thing with the jumbo size. Like if you have it on your driver, you just lose kind of that feel with the club. It's more of just trusting that the face isn't ever going to close down on you because they are thicker, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been fit for grips, but I think it's Jumbo Max is the brand that like Bryson plays and the Busted Jack boys play. And I know that they do fittings specifically for their grips, but I would assume just like you could be fit for clubs, you could probably get fit for grips too of whatever brand you'd pick.
No, 100%. I forgot who it was. Somebody said like that is one of oh, John Daly actually. That's who it was. John Daly's he's very adamant about this, that's like you should be fit for grips. It's just like being fit for clubs. So,
Yeah, it
it'd be
makes a
cool to
lot
do
of
that one
sense.
day.
Yeah.
Taylor, you want to give us a little insight into what's in your bag?
Yeah, so I have been fit for a decent chunk of my bag. Starting with the driver, I'll just go in the same order you did, Nate. I have a Titleist TSR2. I got fit for that. I think it was in probably June or July of 2023. I just bought a Tour AD DI. It's the orange shaft. I think it's extra stiff 65 gram maybe, something like that. But I bought that earlier this past year and really liked that in my head. I was gonna say if you really like that shaft, you've got if you especially if you go Titleist, you can just easily swap that in. But definitely keep that shaft if it's something that's worth the value, just so you can use it for something else. But I'll be keeping this one. I kept my old Hazardous that I was fit for with it too. But yeah, I play a TSR2. I have a 3-wood that a buddy kind of loaned slash gave to me. I'm not quite sure. But it's a Ping G430 that also has a Tour ADDI shaft in it. It's just like a piss missile anytime you hit it off the tee. It's up there in distance pretty much with my driver. It's a little shorter, but can push it out there. And then off the deck, as long as I don't have to carry something, it's gonna run for days. So I know I can punch it. I can, if I get it up in the air, it's not gonna stop. So if I can get it rolling up there onto a green, it's a weapon for sure. But definitely need to work on it off the deck some more. And then I have a 7-wood also that I absolutely love. It's a Titleist TSI one, I believe. So a little older generation. Got that off of eBay. Just the shaft that came with it. But it's a Mitsubishi shaft. I'm not exactly sure on the specs, but I know it is an extra stiff. And that thing's a weapon too. I can turn it over and I can cut it, launch it, flight it. Like it's a really fun club to hit. Absolutely love that club. And then I have PXG 317T irons 4 through pitching wedge. Those ones I got fit for late last year and then bought them to start the season in 25. Those have Mitsubishi MMT 125 TX graphite shafts in them. They're nice. I love those clubs.
Those boys are blacked out, and those things are sexy. I remember when he got them last year, I seen him for the first time, I was like, "Dang, those
I
boys
Yeah.
are
was I was
nice."
with Taylor that entire during that fitting, the double fitting. I think we went twice, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that second one was when you really got to feel a little bit more of your clubs because some of them were in at that second one, right? And he was
Yep.
making some tweaks, which is really
Yep.
cool. So it was like reconfirming everything that he wrote down and built for him online. And when they came in, it's like, all right, these were butter. I mean, it definitely showed. It was a huge improvement during the fitting.
Yeah, I picked up a little bit more distance, but my dispersion was a lot better with these as opposed to my Titleist AP2s that I had. And then I have some Vokey SM9 wedges. I go 50, 54, and 58. Used to have a 60-degree and wasn't very good at the time when I was playing it, so I went with that 58, just have that little bit more forgiveness, I guess. I am in the market for some new wedges, so gonna try some out, and I very well could go 60-degree, but I'm not sure if I will settle on that. And then my big purchase that I got late in 2024 was my Lab DF3 putter that I have. I got the MSU green head on it, and then I got the white Acra shaft in there, and it is absolutely beautiful. Any Spartan fan loves it. The Michigan fans, they can kick rocks, but that putter is money. My lag putting got so much better.
Go green, baby.
That's right, go white. Josh, to go ahead and run us through what you got in your bag.
So in my bag, I currently got a Strixon Z785. I got that from a friend for like $65, and I love the driver. I was hitting it like you witnessed last year, Taylor, ridiculous distances consistently in the 270, 280, rolling out to 300, some 300 out there. I really like the driver. I'm thinking I might need to get a new one just because of how much I've used it. It definitely feels like it's not getting as much pop off of it, but that could also just be me too. So we could see where that goes. But next I have is for the fairway woods is I got a 3-wood, a Nike SQ Sumo 2. I got that from one of my best friends, Gabe. So I've been hitting that very long time. And I used to be able to butter that thing 250, 260, sometimes even. This year, obviously, that distance wasn't there, but I always loved those. The sound of them is amazing. And then I got from Taylor is 7-wood, same thing, Sasquatch Dumo 2. And that's butter as well. That was like if I wanted 200 and to land 200 and not roll out at 200 or 210, that was my club. I still play it like that, just a little bit shorter distance this year. What Taylor mentioned before were some irons. I had some AP2s that I was playing with the year before, and I picked up off of a deal on Facebook these Strixon ZX7s. I got the Approach through 4 and the Mark II's ZX7s. And then I also got a 5 and 4 and their ZX5s as well, all for $400, which is a steal.
Yeah, the ZX5 is more of like a game improvement, right? So it's a little bit more of a forgiving model.
It's more in between because there's 3 in total. 7 is more like the players club, and then it goes to 5, and then I think it's the 3 or 4. I think is after that. I can't remember. The shafts I have in these are the Nippon shafts they're the NS Pro. They're flex stiff. So I'm thinking maybe it's the shafts that I could switch out. And maybe that's the reason why I'm not getting the distances like I was last year. Cause I mean, the irons are great. And when I flush it, you both have witnessed it. You know, it sounds amazing. Just it's not getting the distance that I usually was getting with the AP2s. So then I go down to, my wedges. I really only have 2 wedges. I really don't count the Approach that much as a wedge as it's part of my iron set. So I got a Ben Hogan Equalizer 56 degree Had that for a very long time. And then I go straight to the 64. It's a RTX full face 64 too. And I love the club. I love having, I wouldn't go more than 64. I went with 60 before that, and then I jumped to 64, and it's been amazing for me. I've been able to pull off some shots that Taylor and Nate both can tell anybody that it's like, how the heck did he do that? Like, there's no way that he just popped that out and just landed it, and it's stopped right next to the hole. Gimme circle instantly. I
That
don't know
thing's a
how many.
weapon when we're in scrambles. I love, when we're greenside or, like, in the bunker or something like that, just hitting that. That thing's
Mhm.
so much fun to try to hit and just know it's not going anywhere once it lands on the green.
Which is very, and then out of the bunker, you don't have to open the face. You can actually scoop it if you want with it more. It is the full face, so you can use the full top, the full portion of the club. And then for the putter, I picked up from Taylor this year a TaylorMade Spider GT. It's one of the really heavy older ones, and I've been making significantly better putts with it. I used to have a blade before that, and I definitely needed a mallet. Well, that's my lag putts are insane. One of our intros, you'll see me making like a 45-foot putt, and that was with this putter. It's an amazing putter. I love the putter. So
Yeah, that's cool. That 64 is crazy, though. I don't know what made you decide, like, "Yo, I'm just gonna buy a 64-degree wedge," like, or even consider playing more than a 64-degree wedge is a little wild too.
well, the way I looked at it is this: I could never really make it onto the green. I'd always be close enough to the green to either use like a bump and run, or I needed something with some loft, and I would always hit it past my target, my landing point. So it always would roll past the hole or go farther. And when I actually got your 60 and I started using that and I loved it, and I was like, you know what, I would always play with it open. Always would play with it open. I realized, you know what, if I could just get something like a 62 or 64, then maybe I wouldn't have to open it at all and use the full, it was a full face 60 as well. And just swing a little bit harder and get a little bit more backspin on it, and it just sits. I love it. I absolutely love playing with it.
You
Granted,
definitely
I
have
know
one of
it.
the most interesting bags out of all of us, Josh. That is for
That's right.
sure. I mean, with the Sasquatch and the 64-degree wedge, man, your bag you got some character in that boy.
Yes, yes.
The bag
Always
itself
looking.
is unique too. Can you tell 'em what kinda bag you got?
It's a what's that company called? Here, I think I have it. It's the
Sun Mountain, I think.
something, but it's a Sasquatch. Their Sasquatch one that they did. It was a limited run. It's got Sasquatches all over it. Like an outdoorsy look to it. It catches the eye. If I go at a big place, typically people will ask me about it once or twice. That a popular place are like, that's sick. I tried to get the cart bag at first, but they sold out within like an hour or two, and I was in a meeting, couldn't get it in time. And then I found this one on a random website and bought it on the spot. It was like $120, way cheaper than what it should have been, and very happy with it. So
So it's a knockoff, is that what you're saying?
no, 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 no way.
Hey,
Who knows?
nothing wrong with a good dupe.
Hey, it's a real bag in my eyes. So
Budget conscious, that's all.
came with the right tags and everything. I count it. So
Nate, what kind of bag you have? Is ping one, right?
Yeah, I got the thing I hate about mine is I just love the colors of camo. So like when camo is out there, I always tend to like go to it. But then everybody's like, "Hey, did you serve in the military?" And then I have to be like, "No, dude, I just really like camo." But now I found my new excuse is going to be I like hunting. So
Okay,
hunting, camo, it goes hand in hand, even though I don't hunt. But that's going to be my just like I'm a hunter.
there you go. There you go. Yeah,
What do you got? You
the
got
bag I got is pretty sweet. I ended up, winning it off of a, Instagram giveaway, actually. Like, I don't know if you guys participate in any of that, but I know I tagged you, Josh, in a ton of stuff on Instagram where tag 3 friends, like, comment, follow, all that type of stuff. So, it never ends up happening. End up getting a message a few days later from the dude that I won it off of. He's like, "Hey, just so you know, you won the bag, you won the giveaway." So I won a Stitch SL2. It's like American flag theme colors. It's just red, white, and blue. It's got a specific like brand name, I guess, to that colorway, but I can't remember what it is. But I love the bag. It's really nice and clean. It's small, but it's versatile. But with that giveaway, it was sweet. I ended up getting some head covers out of it. I got a travel bag, like a rolling bag you'd put your golf bag in for flying on an airplane. Both
Damn.
that roller bag and my golf bag have my initials on the little, like, probably 2-inch square nameplate thing that they've got on it. It's pretty sweet. So I'm gonna probably be a Stitch customer in the future when I need to get a new bag.
Dude, that's sick. I always enter into those things and I've never won a single one. So I've given up hope for that. So, but you might have made me have a little more faith in it now. I might have to start reposting some of those.
I'm sure my wife and Josh hate how much I comment and tag them and stuff, but you never know. Maybe I'll end up winning something crazy and, keep stacking into the collection, you know?
I just always thought they were fake. After I didn't win, after like 100 of not winning, I was like, oh, they just never give these out. They just put them out there to say they're going to give stuff away.
Well, now that some of those, like, blue check marks for being verified accounts aren't always legit, when you get those messages saying, "Hey, you won this," it's like, "Yeah, whatever." No, like, I'm not buying into that. Like, I'm not clicking that link. Yeah, so, I mean, we talked obviously about our bag. We've obviously talked about our golf game a little bit in the first 2 episodes. The guys listening, the ladies listening don't necessarily know us super well yet, I would say, being a new show, but I thought it'd be fun to kinda go through, like, any sort of superstitions or routines, rituals, something like that we have when it comes to the game of golf, pulling up to the round. Do you guys have certain artists or music playing? Do you have to pop in a little lip pillow? Like, what do you guys have to do to get yourself ready to play for the round before we get in there?
All right. I'm actually going to take the lead on this one
All
because
right.
I feel like I'm a weirdo now because when you ask this question, I just don't. I don't have any superstitions that I can really think of. I mean, especially because like when the times that I get to the course vary so much. I could get there 10 minutes before tea time or I could get there an hour and a half before tea time. It just depends on how much time I have like available. I'm sure like that everybody can relate to that, right? But like I feel like that takes me away from having any superstitions because then it's like some of the stuff that I'd like to do, it's just not possible in the time that I have allowed for me. So I don't have a whole lot. The only thing I could think of, and I think this goes a little bit out of like the pre-round ritual, but I will stand on business. You should always take the damn flag out of the hole, man. Like, there's a few people that I play with now that will not take the flag out of the hole. And I've missed way too many damn putts to not have the flag out of the hole. So that might be one that could qualify, I think, as a little bit of a superstition. I see Josh nodding his head no over there. But we
I'm
might
with
have
you, Nate.
Bro, it just doesn't. You miss way too many putts with it. There's no benefit to having it in the hole.
Josh, what's your reasoning for wanting it other than just to, like, inconvenience the rest of the group?
No.
That's really
I've
what it is.
always
It's the most inconvenient thing to everybody else.
So in high school, I just always left it in, and I've always liked it in there. Number one, it kind of helps me in a way as an aim point because then you can kind of see really where you're. For me, I can kind of see if the hole is going to be on an angle or not. So I personally like that. Two, I think I've only missed 2 or 3 putts in my life that have bounced out because of the pin. I mean, if you're going to be chipping in, which I do, right? I mean, Taylor, you got to confirm. I definitely chip in a lot, and that doesn't it doesn't mean for
Bro,
me.
this guy's
So
on one today.
I
This
like
guy's
I like
on one.
I like
He-
it. I
He's
like
selling
it.
himself
So
short, saying he misses all these greens, and that's
Yeah.
why he went with that 64. It's literally just so he can just chip in. He's just bumping up that stat. That's all it is.
hey, you got to play your game. If you can't make it in the green on a par 3, you might better put it close every time if you're chipping it on there, right? So I mean, that's I have to have that in. I kind of go through like a 5 to 8 second count process of really going through, looking at the hole, looking at my target line, looking at the landing placement of where I want to be, and then just going through. Okay, practice swing. All right, let's go. So
So do you think you use the flag more of like a left to right in terms of aiming, or more for depth perception? Because I could
that
see
too.
depth
Definitely that
perception
too.
if you struggle to like visualize the hole, I guess. Because I like thinking of the ball rolling in like a clock, right? Like picking a certain measurement or a time on the clock that I expect the ball to roll in. But depth perception always kills me. So I could understand that, but I'm with Nate. Like I've had so many times, whether it's chipping or putting, whatever, that absolutely kills me leaving the flag in. So if I've got a short chip that I think I could knock in, I'm pulling that out if I can. Like I'd rather be screwed because I hit it a little too hard and it just, maybe bounces out, catches the lip, whatever. But if I have a chance for it to drop and the stick prevents it from going in, I'm gonna be pretty pissed.
Listen, chipping's one thing, but bro, we're taking the flag out. If we're playing together, man, I'm pulling the flag as soon as all of us are putting. I don't even care.
Dude,
Taylor will
there's so
tell
many
you.
times that Josh and I are playing. I'm like, Josh, you want the flag in or out? I'll go to pull it. And he's like, I want it in. It's like, bro, come on. So then
Well,
you
don't
gotta
ask
put
then.
it in, pull it
Just
out,
expect
put it
it.
in. Like,
Yep.
it's just,
Yep.
I
he's just
typically
trying to
go
waste our
first because
time.
I'm usually
Dude.
farthest away from the hole. If I actually make it on the green in regulation, I'm usually pretty far away from the hole. So I'm usually the one putting first. So Taylor will always ask, "You want it in?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want it in." Especially downhill putts. I'd rather have that backstop to even if it's gonna bounce out. I'd rather it hit the pin to take a lot of that speed and energy off of it too. Right. So it's my thing. I know it's nobody else's thing, but I like it.
Yeah, it is. It shouldn't be anybody else's thing, and that's one of my biggest things. But
I'm with you.
I got a couple other. One thing I always try to get in a stretch before the round. I think coming from a strength coach perspective, like I just don't feel like my body is ready to play golf until I do something, right? It could just be the most simple stretch or the most simple warm up, but I'm always going to do some kind of dynamic warm up before I go out to the course.
Nate,
One
on
thing
that dynamic warm up, would you prioritize that over range balls? If you had if you get there, you only
Yes.
have, say, 10 minutes or whatever?
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
okay.
It for 1, 2, it's a little bit easier. You don't have the process of, like, going to buy the range balls, going out to the range. Like, you can literally at your car with a band, like, I keep a couple bands in my bag and just run through a quick warm up, and I think that would be a little more effective than, like, and then plus you can always take a breakfast ball off the first, so you get a pseudo range ball, you know?
That was gonna be the
Big
next
fan,
question.
big
Mhm.
fan of breakfast balls.
Yeah.
But one thing I realized too, I was looking up, I actually asked ChatGPT about golf superstitions because I wasn't even really sure. I was like, what are the most common ones? So, one thing, I don't ever count my score on the course. Like, I find myself actively not counting my score. Like, I really don't know what I'm at. I'll know if I'm having a good round, right? But I couldn't tell you that I'm 5 over or 25 over. I never have an idea. I know obviously kind of where I'm at, but then it's always like at the end of the round, I'm always like eager to add it all up because I just have no idea. And I think that's a lot of fun for me.
Is that like a mental thing so you don't associate, like, your play to a number, that you're more so just trying to play your best each hole as opposed to that you're trying to score a specific number?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from I've never been good enough to keep track of, you know what I mean? Like I've never most of the time until this year I was shooting in the 90s, right? So like I'm not keeping track of 18 like I don't know if I'm 18 over. I just know I'm somewhere up near the 90s. So I think that's a lot of where that came from. And then now as I'm starting to get a little bit better, it's just stayed that way. I never really want to know where I'm at. If somebody like is actively adding them up and they tell me, it's like, okay, sure, I'll know where I'm at now, but I never actively like do it myself. And then I have one more quick one. Josh kind of alluded to it with a pre-shot routine. That's one thing I'm really trying to develop like every time. Like I want to have a set pre-shot routine on the tee, in the fairway. If I'm hitting a punch out, like I still want to go through an entire like routine and get it down to like it's like I'm taking a free throw. That's one of like the big things. I've tried to work on it last year and I want to be more diligent about it this year.
Yeah, I did that a lot too, and I noticed my game just felt like it was something I've done, just like you said, a free throw. Like, you obviously do the same routine in practice, games, whatever. So when you step to the line, you feel like I've done this a million times. Whereas, you get out of a golf cart, you can get up there and just hit the ball because you're upset of how the hole's going. You could get up there and hit it because you're so excited that, like you feel like you're gonna stick the shot when you get up there. Whatever the reasoning may be to not stick to your routine. Sticking to that just helps you to be so much more consistent, I feel, but have that mindset of like confidence that it's going to work out and it's going to be what you're expecting it to be. But it's really tough for me. I was going to ask you, like, on the days you're not playing well, do you
Oh yeah.
feel or see yourself like, screw that routine? Like, I'm just getting up there and I'm hitting it, because that's what I do, and then it ends up being much worse most of the time.
Yeah, one thing, and you know what's funny? Chasing Scratch talks about this a lot, but and I forget if it was Mike or Eli. I think it might have been Mike, but he doesn't like to be the one like keeping up pace of play. And that's a big thing for me, man. Like that's one of the things that I struggled with golf for a really long time is like always felt like I could never keep up with the people in front of me, but then like I'm always holding up the people behind me. If that like I never
Yep.
could feel like I was keeping pace of play. And I think that's just golf, right? Like you're always going to
Mhm.
be on somebody's butt or somebody's always going to be on your butt for the most part, especially with how popular it's gotten. So I think that is like one of the other big things on top of just playing like crap that throws me out of that pre-shot routine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always tough. Even like in a basketball game, it's always tough, I think, to stick to your routine or stick to something. But I do think if you do stick to it, you'll see some significant improvement, even just in your mindset. I'm sure talking with your dad about a pre-shot routine too is something he's probably harping on you with, consistent improvement for sure.
100%. So I guess for not having a lot of superstitions, I ended up having a lot of them that I found out by Chat GPT. Josh, you got any that you want to tell us about?
Really, I try to keep my clubs clean. I guess that's one of them. It's something that I tried to change this year. Two, I mean, like I said before, the counting process. If we're talking about putting, it's more like, okay, I'm going through the process. My last look is always going to be at the hole, always at the hole, because that's where I kind of get my distance control. If I don't look directly at the hole and I change my eyes to where my aim point is, then for me, I end up always either over hitting it or under hitting it. And it's never like right next to it. So maybe that's superstition in a way. Driver, I always used to say, go big or go home. And that has obviously changed over the years. So it's more of all right, let's just get a good tempo going, good tempo rate right now, and then see how the day goes. Based off of that first at least 3 holes, I can kind of tell if it's really going to be a good day or a rough day. Taylor, what about you?
That's all you got, bro?
Right now, yeah.
Man, we're about to be here for a minute for mine, so buckle up.
Oh God, why don't you just run through them then? Just shout them at
Yeah,
us.
so at Metamora specifically, being a member there, I get free range balls. So I'll try to make sure I'm there at least 45 minutes to an hour early. I'm not in great shape as we've already talked about, so I need at least a 20-minute warm up of some sort, whether it be, an exercise or actually hitting golf balls. That is why I asked about the dynamic warm up versus the range, because I feel like I would benefit from doing even a 5-minute, dynamic warm up and then a shorter range session. I feel like that could be very beneficial for me. So I'll make sure I'm at the range, and I usually will go through my bag, longest to shortest clubs, and then I'll play the first hole mentally in my head before I start. And if I got time, maybe the first couple holes in my head if I know the course. On the way to the course, I try to not listen to anything that's going to get me like too amped up or hyped up, just because it'll get my blood pressure going, get me all excited and then just swinging out my shoes. So a lot of times it's Morgan Wallen, or I'll put on like some like Chris Brown or Neo or something that's got a little bit more like R&B type feel to it, just to kind of chill out and be mellow and comfortable and excited about playing, but not necessarily overhyped for it. While playing, I prefer to put something that's a little bit in that like groovy range too. I read a article about how R&B music or something in the specific beats per minute count, how it helps with your golf game and your tempo and consistency with your tempo. So I think it was like 6 beats per minute is what the like recommended count is for you to be playing. And it's not like anything like mental by any means. Most of the music I listen to is well within that realm, but I like listening to stuff that's going to fall into that range.
We're gonna have to come back to me after this because I completely forgot about the music.
All right.
Completely.
Well, on our last golf trip, I was getting made fun of for having some like baby making music type stuff on,
Yes.
and dude, it was working though. It was some good stuff. So I'll put that type of stuff on quite regularly. There's not really much else. I make sure I have some sort of like electrolyte solution with me just to stay hydrated. And then we've talked about it before, but if we're playing some sort of a competitive round, I try not to do anything too much drinking wise, just so that way I can kind of stay locked in a little bit mentally, but sometimes one doesn't hurt to help settle the nerves a little bit. So I just make sure I don't usually consume too much out there while I'm playing, but I am particular about only having one golf ball in my pocket at a time. So the one I'm
Oh,
playing with in
that's a
play,
good one. Yep.
and then a ball just in case I need it so I don't have to run back to the cart.
No, I can't have a ball in my pocket. That's one of
Uh,
for me. I can't have anything in my pockets. Nothing. Except for a tee
Man,
yeah.
and like a ball marker.
it's probably because of those tight ass pants that you got on, probably, right?
Hey,
Between
baby,
holes,
when
I'll
if you
have
got it, you might as well flaunt it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Between holes, I'll put the two, I'll have two golf balls in my pocket, but while playing, I'll have one extra. And then in my left pocket, I'll have my ball marker, my divot tool, and then a couple tees. And then the golf glove always goes in the right back pocket.
Ooh.
Um,
Yeah, see, I don't
Yeah,
do
other
that.
than that, I think that's about it ritual, I guess, but, like, routine-wise, I wanna start, getting a, like, pace into my putts, so, like, measuring off the distance of it. The last couple times we played after getting into the simulators here late this fall, knowing that those screens are only 10 feet from where you're putting from, I started kind of visualizing that, like, 10-foot mark, and I would pace off the long lag putts, and I was getting a lot closer with my lag putting doing that. So I think that's something I'm gonna try out.
Completely forgot about music. So I listen to typical J. Cole or Drake, get the blood flowing. Usually by the second or third hole, I have some sort of EDM music on. I know it's not everybody's forte, but it keeps me going and it
Some
keeps
big
me in
booty
the right.
mix, is that what it is?
Ooh,
No,
I love me
no.
some big
It
booty.
is good.
Love me some
I
big
like their
booty.
old stuff, but yeah, no, I'll typically listen to some EDM and then I'll have always a speaker. I'm usually the guy that's always playing music. For the longest time, I would always play with cigar. Always. I enjoy them a lot, and I'm trying to cut back a little bit. One, just because they're so darn expensive, and two, they're not the best healthy for you, you know. So I would typically have one, sometimes two, or even a black and mild or a Swiss or sweet, something simple, something easy to get on the way to the courts.
Yeah, shit, sounds not a fan when I come home smelling like your
Oh
smoke, by the
my
way.
god, bro.
Hey, but you say you like it. So, I mean,
Dude, I didn't know Josh smoked like that. Damn.
especially while golfing, not really by myself. Like, I'll go to cigar bars and things like that, but get the golf courses. If you're in nature, you're outdoors, nobody's going to get bothered by it for the most part, at least. And then usually, if I could, I would always have some sort of alcoholic beverage if I could. But I'll typically do the same thing Taylor does. I usually get something that has electrolytes or even a PD light or something like that, just to make sure that I'm keeping hydrated while out there, even if it's in the spring or fall.
I think we should do a deeper dive into like drinking on the course and kind of what are our do's and don'ts with that because I think I differ a little bit and I'd like to go a little more in depth with it. I think that could be a whole different topic for another day because I'd like to dive into that a little bit. I'm not trying to expose any of you guys, but speaking of getting exposed, I thought one of the cool things we could talk about is kind of where we feel the most exposed out on the golf course. I know for me, at least, I could keep it short and sweet. If I'm within 150 yards, I feel very comfortable. I feel in my element. If I'm outside of 150 and that even is off the tee as well, it's the longer the club, the more exposed I feel. So I'll keep it short and sweet. What about you boys? What exposes you the most?
For me, I would say anything like 4 or 5 iron, especially off the tee. I've chunked them so bad so many times off the tee trying to hit like a 200, 220 yard, par 3. So I'm with you there. Like 150 and in though, I feel money, anything really 8 iron down, I feel really good with. But anything up above that, it can be a little different depending on the day.
That's weird though, Taylor. You would rather hit like 4 or 5 iron off the deck rather than off the tee.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just a mental thing for me. There's a couple par threes there at Metamora, depending on how the wind's coming in, where you do have to hit a 5 iron or 4 hybrid, something a little longer, probably like a 200-ish plus shot, depending on the day. And I don't know. Most of my par threes I don't tee up, but the 4 and 5 iron I do just to help me launch it. But there's something, I don't know if it's subconscious or what, but I do not hit them well off the tee, especially on the par threes.
See, I would say for me, it was the opposite. I would rather hit it off the tee than play it off the deck, especially when you get into the woods. That phew,
I'm with
count
you,
me
Nate.
out.
Anything on a tee. If you had opportunity to tee it up, I'm most likely going to tee it up.
100%.
For me, my money area is really 40 yards and in. I feel extremely comfortable 40 yards
That
and in.
64 degrees, is that what it is?
Well, the 64, you can get it with me in my game. Anything really above 35, I don't really use it just because if you swing so hard in order to get it that distance. And with the 64, especially if you're popping it up pretty high, that if you make one mistake, a little high or a little low, you're either going right underneath the ball or you're blading that sucker, and it is flying at least 50, 60 yards forward. pray to God nobody's in the way of it. I mean, I know Taylor, Nate, I think you've seen one where it's just gone right by some people, like walking on the other side of the green. It's like, okay, but anything
Espresso.
35 and in, I'm pretty money with that distance. Really, my scary distance, or the ones I don't really feel comfortable with, is really right now. It's actually 140 to 150 because I've lost so much distance that what club do I choose? Do I go with what I normally would and just hope that I do it correctly? Or since I know I'm not getting the distance right now, do I go seven, and go up? Um, and then really the 160 and the 170 are fine because usually I can get that with, a 6 or 5 pretty easily. And then anything above that, it's either, okay, do I go 4 iron or do I go 7 wood? And those are my not great areas.
Is there a specific, like, shape of hole, like a dogleg left, dogleg right, something like that, that either of you guys don't play well with? Because for me personally, anything with the dogleg or bend to the right, unless I can fly the corner, is not playing out well for me since I move the ball from right to left.
I move the ball left to right most of the time right now. So really any hole that's going to the right, I'm pretty comfortable, or a pin location on the right of the green, I feel pretty comfortable with that. If it's on the left side, obviously, I mean, I'm praying there's no trees or obstacles in the way because it's still going to do this, left to right movement. So that's kind of where I'm at. What about you, Nate?
I think I don't really have a preference. If I'm hitting the ball well, I tend to have a pretty straight ball. With some irons, I do have like more of a baby draw, moving it from right to left. But off the tee, if I'm hitting it well, it's more just like a bullet. So I don't really get too intimidated by dogleg left or dogleg rights. I kind of try to just not think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, some of them, because you can't really avoid it, like, you have to move the ball if you're trying to get a good score on the hole, but, with our games, obviously, we're not all good enough to force it to turn one way or the other.
Yeah, and off the tee, I feel like I'm the kind of guy that I show up to the range and I hit a couple balls and it's like, all right, we're playing a draw today. Or
Exactly,
I show up and it's
exactly.
like, all right, we're playing a fade today.
That's why you
So,
get there early, you figure it out.
Yep. Got to have
yep.
that range time.
Or you figure it out on the first tee, like
Right,
sometimes.
right. Yep. Well, I know last thing that we really wanted to talk about was, some fantasy golf. Nate, I know you're trying to put us onto it. Josh and I have really no clue what we're getting into. I know some of the listeners, we're gonna maybe see if we can get them engaged. You wanna give us a rundown of what we could expect?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm being honest, I don't even think I exactly know what I'm doing either. I've never played fantasy golf, but last year I've really gotten into like watching the PGA Tour. I was always a pretty big fan of like the signature events, but I found it hard to watch some of those like lower level where you're not really getting the Scotties or the Rorys at the tournaments. I found it a little unenjoyable to watch. But last year I was kind of lashing onto it. I liked watching some of those guys like Jake Knapp, just his buttery smooth swing. I kind of felt like I started to learn a little bit more about some of those lower level guys, whether that was like YouTube golf, kind of you see a lot of those guys on there. So it's like, oh, I know him. I can watch him now. But I found it to be a little more enjoyable. And this year, one of my clients actually sent me this. So it is a fantasy golf kind of league. What it entails is basically each tournament. So there's 32 individual tournaments throughout the season. Each of those weeks, you get a salary cap of $1.5 million. And then each golfer has a corresponding salary. And what you have to do is pick anywhere from 3 to 8 golfers. So there is a minimum and there is a maximum, but you're free to spend that 1.5 million however you want. And so you can distribute it on 8 players or you can distribute it on 3. It is a little bit of a hefty buy-in, but it's really cool in the way that they did it. So it says here that last year they had 105 league members and there were 62 total spots that paid out. So over half the league wins their money. Each week, the most points scored for that week, that player wins their money back. So you win $225 if you score the most points on a week-to-week basis. So that kind of gives you a little added incentive. It's not just like a win or go home type thing. Every week does kind of matter. And so, yeah, I thought it'd be kind of interesting kind of with what we're doing here. We can kind of give our picks on a week-to-week basis and kind of go over some things of players that we like, to somebody that we think is kind of on a hot streak, or some people that we think is maybe not doing so well for that week, or the course doesn't suit their game. So that's kind of a
In
little bit
theory,
about it.
could you have the same team as, multiple other people playing within that league? So you said 3 to 8
Oh yeah.
people. Could you end up having, if you picked 8 players, all 8 of them potentially matching up with someone else, or is it some sort of like draft system each week? Do you know?
Nope. So you could draft any player, so you can
Okay.
definitely end up with the same team. I would say that would probably be more likely for like 3 to 4 player teams. Like you could draft, like let's say you went in and drafted Scotty, Rory, and JJ
Just spam the
Spawn.
favorites
Yeah,
every week.
yeah, the favorites. I could see that you would kind of be in some tiebreakers or some things like that. So you could definitely draft the same teams, but then it is like cumulative points too across the entire season. So even if you tie on a weekly basis, you split that 225 like jackpot for the week, but it'll also go towards your final ranking points as well. So
Yeah, that'd be cool to do. I know we've talked about fantasy football obviously today, and Josh and I were talking with someone about some fantasy NBA potentially for next season that we might try to hop in on too, just to pay a little bit more attention to the game. I think for golf, obviously what we're trying to talk mostly about, and the fact that I watch pretty much all of them anyways, it's another way to stay engaged and not have to just be sports betting, because that obviously gets expensive with not very much return most of the time.
yeah, and honestly, for me, I've given up sports betting quite a bit. So I have turned to more of these fantasy leagues, whether it's football or golf. Some of the other leagues, the seasons are just way too long to kind of, for me at least, like baseball, basketball, hockey, of like those seasons, you're checking it on like an everyday basis. I kind of like how the football and the golf, you can check it one day a week, set your lineups, make sure you put in your claims for waivers or whatever it might be, and then you're good for the week. But yeah, I think this will be a lot of fun. I think it'd be cool, kind of week to week, going over our picks and who we like for that tournament.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be real cool and an easy way to stay engaged in all of it.
So if
Cool.
any of the listeners are interested in kind of getting in with us too, feel free to kind of shoot us a DM or get in contact with us, and I'm sure we can get you the link to the league as well.
Yeah, it's at the DD Golf Show on all of our socials. So cool. Well, yeah, this one, like we said in the intro, coming out right after the new year. Looking forward to hearing from everybody and seeing what they got going with their New Year's resolutions and what they're trying to do this year with their personal life, their golf game, whatever it may be. But really looking forward to getting together with some of you guys and engaging with you, and appreciate all the support that we've gotten so far.
Yeah, and like Taylor said, if you guys want us to answer any questions that you guys might have or go over, so you have some topics that you want us to cover, hey, at DD Golf Show on all social media platforms, just feel free to shoot us a DM, drop us a comment, and we'll try our best to get to any of those topics you want us to cover.
For sure. You boys got anything else for tonight? Or you gonna call it good?
I think that's it, man. I'm
Let
good
it
if you're good.
fly. Just let it
All
fly.
right. Cool. Well, you guys have a great rest of your night. Everyone listening, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yep. See you
Peace.
guys.